Darkness Prevails would like to greet all of you and the designs for the whole past. We have also had something honored to introduce to you a story titled Grandma. This ghost will still be a familiar village style. Invite everyone to listen together in music. Capcut girls ring to signal to the people who are still sleeping that the sky is about to get sick. Men inside the level 4 house, considered to be well off in the neighborhood. DM is in the chicken coop chasing a young hen more than 10. Chickens in the coop run around, making a loud noise, making the ducks in the ditch also panic to catch the chicken as Desire. Dim smiles wickedly, then quickly New goes out of the coop, difficult to fence, carefully sits plucking the chicken's neck feathers. Next to it was a large pot of boiling water that was boiling vigorously. DM conveniently added more firewood to make the fire bigger. She twisted the chicken's neck and quickly said, "I'll bless you for your past life so you can conceive a human being. In your next life, don't be an animal anymore." DM boldly cut the chicken's neck, causing blood to flow out of its eyes. The chicken turned away and stopped moving. It died without a chance to escape. DM's neighbor, a woman, saw it and whispered sarcastically, "You're killing, but you're killing. I'll bless you, I'll do it too." DM scalded the whole chicken into the pot of boiling water and washed the feathers. In no time, it was done. Finished cleaning, she took it to cook porridge, then put it on the table, loudly calling everyone Mom. "Oh brother, oh surely Ton Trang is porridge." She carried Ton out. "He is so small this year, just got to the beach, just saw on the table. There is a chicken." The little boy's face was happy, 2 legs running into the room. "Grandma, Grandma, come eat grandchild with me, Mom. Cook the chicken, grandchild. Grandma is delicious." "Oh, wait for Grandma," bit Grandma Lua was, standing in front of the mirror holding a comb running through her salt and pepper hair bun, then neatly pulling the comb up on top of her head, still waiting for her grandma. Close X Grandma Lua rubbed. "Put some coconut oil on your hair, Tang. It smells good and makes your hair shiny." Grandma went out and took her grandson. "Well, it looks like you've grown up now. Grandma is so wet that you want to get up." "No, I don't want Grandma to be wet all the time." DM looked at the two of them with annoyance, but quickly lowered her head and sat down to eat. Ton sat next to Grandma, politely giving chopsticks to Grandma, then brought them to his parents. "Dad, give me a thigh, please." I was about to fold it for her son, but his wife stopped her. She said, "Let's give Grandma a piece to nourish you. You're still young, so eat meat." Then DM picked up a piece. The meat was crushed for Ton's son. Ton's face fell, but he didn't dare to disobey his mother. Partly he wanted his grandmother to eat the thigh. Partly he saw that what his mother said was right. Mrs. Lua loved her grandchildren, so no one dared to accept her fate. She smiled kindly and folded the thigh. "Let Ton eat it so he can grow up quickly, so that he can show filial piety to his parents. Grandma's teeth are all weak. Why eat thighs or meat?" Tang Ton looked hesitantly at his mother. Mrs. Lua brushed her hands. "Grandma is older than you. Eat it." Grandma folded for me. Mom doesn't dare to scold me. Music. "Okay, you two, each of you eat one." "Mom, eat one too." "I'm just telling my sister." The yard to add more chicks to sell to me. My mother is old. She has to eat to nourish her health so that it won't lose its strength. Hearing the filial daughter-in-law, Mrs. Lua is also satisfied. Mother sees the wife and children. She loves her mother so much, doesn't she? DM, she is truly a virtuous wife and good daughter-in-law and legend mother. "Oh, you two eat." Mother still goes out to the hospital to give out female rice. On Monday, the beginning of the week, Mother goes to sign the papers to transfer the land use rights to me. DM gave a fake smile and asked mother-in-law, "Oh, shrimp, how much did on make? If you give it to Mother, then Mother will keep it. Should she save it to buy clothes or save some gold? Every time Mother brings money, give everything to everyone, Mom. Do you think they can give you anything? Or go to the temple to make offerings. Then you will return to Buddha in the hospital. Don't you see? Many people are suffering so much that I don't dare eat, save money for relatives to pay for the hospital. Living in that situation is very miserable. Whatever I can help, I mainly do it because I'm happy. Whether or not I can return to Buddha in the future depends on whether each person has enough kindness in their heart or not. It has nothing to do with a matter of making offerings. Tell the temple to have many Buddhas. Let them make enough offerings. Then you go there to be a beggar. Buddha's door, please ask Buddha to protect your children and grandchildren in peace. DM smiled awkwardly. Yes, but in her heart she thought, let me see if in the future she has no land or money. Will anyone be kind to her? At mealtime, Mrs. Lua packed her things and stood in a corner in front of the hospital, waiting for the afternoon when the people taking care of relatives in the hospital would come out and see her, a skinny, dark-skinned lottery ticket seller, walking towards you with concern. Hey, come here, today we have vegetarian food. The two of you reached out your hands to receive it and bowed your heads to thank Mrs. Lai. Okay, hurry up and eat so you can go sell tickets in time. Yes, thank you for the silk on Mrs. Lua's lips. She always smiles. She and the doctors and people who have been hospitalized for a long time here are no longer strangers because each other every month she goes to give out charity rice twice. Looking at the people passing by, there are those who are miserable. There are those who are healthy. There are those who are sick. There are those who want to be brave, people passing by here. She sees herself as much luckier than many other faiths. The person selling lottery tickets earlier has been eating her rice for more than 2 years. She heard that he was orphaned since childhood and did not know who his parents were. He lived on the love of the people. He shook his head and passed the age of 6. Went to sell lottery tickets for an agent near the hospital and then gave the money to the boss to keep for him. Until now, it's been 30 years. Life without a single relative. In the late afternoon, I went out to help clean up and take Mrs. Lua home. Ending a broadcast, hearing the familiar sound of a car, Ton ran out and said he was tired. Grandma wasn't tired. After she finished speaking, she gave a passionate kiss. How could she be tired anymore? No matter how tired she was, Tom just had to show his face to Grandma. I said no matter how tired I was, I would recover quickly. No matter how tired I was, I would get well soon. Grandma was still home. He happily showed his face to his grandmother, knowing that his grandmother loved him the most in the family. So when she left for a while, he watched her come back very fiercely. At night, Ton slept with his grandmother. The couple slept separately, their faces resting on DM's husband's arm. He said to his mother, while you're still lucid, kill him and transfer the property to me. What if later, when my mother gets old and loses her mind, she plans to give the land to strangers? Don't worry, I'm the only child and Ton is a talented grandson. If he doesn't leave it to me, who will he give it to? Because my mother is very charitable. I'm afraid my mother will give away her land and house to others. She will give rice to others. To make Mom happy, and also if Mom gave it to a stranger, then she would definitely leave it for you. Even if she didn't give it to you, then look at Ton, he loves his grandmother so much, Mom said like that. If it doesn't belong to you, then it belongs to me. Don't be in such a hurry, DM sighed. There was nothing else to do on the other side. Ton slept with Grandma Lua. He got used to Grandma. The sky started to rain and wind rustled outside. House Grandma covered him with a blanket. Ton also curled up and pressed his head close to Grandma. It felt so warm a bolt of lightning flashed across the sky. The loud explosion quickly stopped, but the thunder followed. The people below were startled by the loud explosion. The storm became more and more intense. Inside the house, the electricity was cut off. How quickly went to find a low candle to light it up. Ton hugged Grandma tightly. Grandpa, don't go hug Grandma. It's very warm. You're not afraid of the sky. Oh, Grandpa, I know your father is old. You're his son. But you're so afraid of thunder and lightning. But you still talk big. When I was young, Poe's house was poor. When it rained, it leaked everywhere. When it rained, some places were dry. Some were wet. You couldn't sleep. Grandpa and Grandpa saw that and tried very hard, at least for the children. The child has the safest place to sleep. I love children so much that I can only give birth to your father. Oh my gosh, remembering that scene now. Being able to sleep in a house like that makes him so satisfied. So Grandpa and Grandma are so good. From a broken house that got wet from the rain, Grandpa and Grandma bid the house to stop leaking. Grandma Lua thought to herself, "That's right, he's a kid." She smiled and told him that the word bid only comes when he sees Grandma or someone else. Just sew up the broken part. If the house leaks from the rain, we'll call it repair or roofing. Is that so, Grandma? I remember now. Oh good, Mrs. Lua kissed Trang. The warmth from Grandma quickly made him feel comfortable, and then he fell asleep behind a house. The pig squealed loudly in the pen. Maybe it was because of the cold, or maybe he was also afraid of lightning. The sky is like that. Sometimes it will be calm, the sky is blue, the wind gently blows across the skin, white clouds gently float, and sometimes the sky suddenly becomes stormy. The sky is filled with dark clouds. The wind blows strong and cold. People are the same. Sometimes it is peaceful like floating clouds. Sometimes it encounters storms and wind. At 4 a.m. the sky is still foggy. The air is still cloudy. There is still a reason for the influence. Home from the rain last night, Mrs. Lua pulled a blanket over Ton and went out of the mosquito net to the pig trough to pour out the leftover food for them. The pig pen was made of bricks. There was no cement. The iron door was a meter high, built like that so that they could not jump out. Mrs. Lai sprayed water to sweep up the manure. While shaking, she suddenly saw a dark figure sitting in the corner of the pen. That shadow opened its green eyes and looked at her. Its voice trembled fiercely and gloomily. "Do you have anything for me to eat?" Mrs. Lua's ears were swollen. Her legs could no longer hold the broom. Her legs felt like they were buried. "They can't say anything, go find something for me to eat, or I'll eat all your pigs." Then Mrs. Lua's body has a little reaction. Mrs. Trung's legs move back and forth, looking at the ghost in front of her, speechless, can't say anything. So scared, she goes into the house to stay until morning. Neen goes to the neighbors to bring the dregs back to feed the pigs yesterday. It rained heavily, the ground is muddy, everything have food and save, then find something. Clean to do what raise chickens while. Ducks, raise a few more pigs every day. Have to. Go carry the dregs. Chew LM is both heavy and tiring. You try to raise it or you will die. I use the pigsty as a grave for you to let you know how pigs feel. Where are they? DM went from house to house asking for dregs until 2 buckets were full before returning home. When she got home, DM met Mrs. Lua cooking in the kitchen. "Are you home? Have some plums for Mom to eat. The chicken is gone. Leave it there for Mom to hear." Yes. Mrs. Lua remembered the scene yesterday and stammered to tell her daughter-in-law to be careful. Yes. What's wrong, Mom? It's nothing. It's raining. The floor is slippery. Yes, I know. DM went out to the sty and saw that the pigs had been fed. The sty had been cleaned. Without asking, she knew that her mother-in-law woke up early to make her spill sea on her cheeks, and then went to the chicken coop to catch a rooster and wash its feathers. She opened her mouth and saved money for her children and grandchildren, but she was so lewd that she ate 3 meals a day. She ate chicken and ate lavishly like a devil outside. DM was cutting the chicken's neck and grumbling. Little did she know that in the hidden corner, there was a pair of blue eyes staring at her. It seemed that Mrs. Lua didn't know that she had a two-faced daughter-in-law. DM finished cooking the chicken and put it in a styrofoam box, and put it in a box at the base of Nuakta to marinate the oysters. She went to the field to catch the net before dawn, right when DM had free time. Then also held the net and turned back. "Hey, let me help you fish. How long do I have to live in this situation? The sky was just working, and I didn't have time to rest." DM Hang went out to see her unhappy face. Ha immediately became concerned. "Are you tired? Every day you do housework continuously, and you say no." "Tired? I just finished making chicken for my mother, and I didn't have time to rest when you told me to go out and fish." "Tom, go to the house and rest so I can do it and marinate it." The styrofoam box is almost out of ice. It's almost cold. I'll go to Ba Tai's house to buy some ice to marinate things. Okay, I know DM went in, and Ha sat down to remove the fish. There are a lot of goby fish this season. Cast a net and wait for about 2 hours to pull it up, and you will have something to eat. It is not difficult to find, but it is a hassle to do because it is catfish. If you do it carefully, it will leave a fishy smell, and also slime. Goby fish is also a species with thorns. If you do it carefully, the thorns will sting very painfully. Tom came out from the house and saw a lot of goby fish in the net, so he excitedly said, "Oh my gosh, there are so many fish. Chaban, there are a lot of goby eggs this season. I will give you some lemongrass and chili to cook for you to eat, okay?" Chaban is the best. Tom suddenly gave. The hand caught the goby fish stuck in the net. The father did not have time to stop, only to hear the child's screams getting more and more intense. Ha Kwang's soul dropped the knife, quickly washed his hand with dishwashing liquid, then held his child's hand, crying and bleeding because he was stabbed by the goby fish's thorn. The thorn was not poisonous, but when it was stabbed, it hurt so much. Why did the child cry so much? Oh my God, why did you let the child? What kind of goby fish did he catch? Then Mrs. A.M. Tang Tan went inside, patted and took from the kitchen shelf a jar of homemade colored water and poured it on the punctured spot. This is tips from the time that my grandparents left me. The fish thorns hurt so much. I've had them before. I know you're in a lot of pain. I'm in pain for you. I'll take it too. So I said yes, Tan sobbed, tears streaming down his face. Grandma Lua took a Band-Aid and covered him up. Now blow on it. Oh, Grandma, blow on it to make it go away quickly. Outside, I made the fish fry in ash and then washed it clean. Crushed a few lemongrass stalks with some dangerous fruits. The sound of the knife chopping on the cutting board was steady inside the house. Grandma Lua told Tom, "Come play with your mother, Grandma Mansell." The story of the old lady slowly walked behind, took out some incense sticks on the altar, took out the chicken from the box, and asked DM to make it. She went behind to clean up the offering for that ghost. The incense stick had just been lowered. After a while, she clearly saw something flash by very quickly. Yes, then a ghost with green eyes was looking at the offering tray with great desire. It looked at Mrs. Lua, smiled wickedly, appeared and disappeared for a moment, then sat right next to the tray, sniffed and sniffed at the offering tray. Very quickly, the sour smell came out. The ghost looked at her satisfied, and her hands were bleeding. As for the pigsty, 1 chicken a month, they were still safe and sound. Mrs. Lua's face was pale. Her limbs trembled. She couldn't speak. In front of her, the demon slowly faded into the air and disappeared. Mrs. Lua carried the offering tray and threw it away without telling her children about this. After 3 months, the pigs were now grown up, each one drinking. Mu had also gone through 3 dong offerings, so Mrs. Lua was no longer as scared as she was at first. On the contrary, now she felt sympathy for Dong, the strange spirit. Today, there were 3 men. He went into Mrs. Lua's house. One of them was the owner. The other 2 worked in the sample furnace. They followed the owner to catch and tie the pigs. They tied the pigs' legs with ropes. Although controlling the pigs was a bit difficult, they were used to it, so they finished quickly. The pigs with their 4 legs tied kept screaming and struggling in fear. Their faces were distorted. DM held her baby and couldn't hide her joy because she knew that pigs were in hide-a-man. He wanted to thank him for taking care of them for so long. This time, he had to tell him to give the X-Men a shout. He intended to do so. DM stood up. A corner of observation, Mrs. Lua was wandering around, suddenly seeing her nephew looking down at the pigs with a grimace on his face. She spoke loudly and viciously. DM, come on, Tan, go somewhere else. You're still young. Don't let me see these things. They're not meant to be. DM was not pleased, but agreed and turned away. Mrs. Lewis sold all the pigs in the pen, leaving only a pair of street pigs. The deep, dull sound of the 100 kilograms copper scale rang out, each time each pig was weighed and paid for. Mrs. Lua earned quite a bit. The piles of money were checked and neatly arranged. Two men carried pigs on their shoulders, which were the ends of a pole as big as a pillar. The pigs' squeals were loud and clear, and their squeals were somewhat resentful. Tan was probably scared. Perhaps they knew they were about to die at the hands of humans. The pigs' squeals haunted Tan's mind every second. Although the boy did not actually go outside to witness it, deep in his heart, an indescribable feeling of unease arose. Hello, sisters. Come back to listen to the new crop. Remember to call me. Oh, I remember now. You guys be careful when you come back. Tonight at 11 o'clock, we will start killing for you to supply to the market in the morning if you want to try the meat. Go to Mrs. Bayen's stall or Mr. Haikanha's stall. Mrs. Lua nodded. The three of them got on a motorbike and started the pig-carrying vehicle. A few miles from Mrs. Lua, they returned to the money from selling the pigs. Mrs. Lua gave half of the money to Ha and her husband, keeping the rest for herself. DM took the money her mother-in-law gave her to buy a new set of cement. She loved her wife, so she didn't have any opinion. As long as she was happy and the family was peaceful, she would give her all the money. That was also part of the work. DM went to carry the dregs for the pigs, but on the other side of the furnace. Around 11 o'clock, more than usual, the new person who started working on the pig was now exhausted. If someone touched it, he would use a stick. Otherwise, he would lie down and breathe with his forelegs still tied to the boiling water. Two muscular men carried the pot of boiling water into a very large pot. 4 or 5 men scooped up ladles of boiling water and poured it directly on the pig's head. They screamed in pain and struggled. The air around them was now filled with the stench of its waste. Then, ladles of water were poured all over them. Under the naked eye, you could see the pig's hair standing up. They used a knife to shave off the hair and then stabbed the pig in the neck. The pig's blood was like a sausage, a strong fishy smell mixed with a musty smell, so fishy that it made people feel confused. The men here were too familiar with it. They calmly used a knife to divide the pig into pieces, and at 4 a.m., they divided it into small pieces. At the market, there was a flu epidemic happening in the hospital, so now the price of clean pork has increased. Sick pigs are being slaughtered in large numbers. Every day, the radio reported the news on this side. At midnight, Tan slept with his parents and started talking in his sleep. His forehead was covered in sweat. His eyes were closed as if he was revealing. Clearly scared, Ha sat up and woke up her son, Tan. "Oh, Dad, wake up." The little boy opened his eyes and quickly hugged his father and wept blood. "Dad, it's dark. You're taking me away." Hey, it's okay, my child. It was just a dream." That night, Tan, after falling asleep, his head started to get hot, his forehead was sweating, his eyes were squinted. Under the thin skin of his eyes, he could see his pupils moving. His lips were moving, unable to form words. In the dream, everything was blurry and gloomy. The atmosphere was thick and hazy, as if there was a layer of black bones covering it. Faint figures passed by. Unclear, but the feeling of fear kept increasing. The sound of the roar echoed from afar like a scream or a laugh that made Tan's heart beat faster. In front of him was a dark road. On both sides were broken trees like hands reaching out to threaten the sky with dark clouds. Occasionally lightning flashed, revealing horrifying images. A pair of sharp red eyes full of demons. They were getting closer and closer, and all around were ghostly laughter that kept ringing. Hope seems like something is chasing, coming closer from all over myself to become the ultimate surrounded sacrifice. When the feeling of fear reaches its peak, everything suddenly disappears, leaving only a terrifying silence. The dream ends, but the obsession still haunts Tan. Wakes up after a long coma, but his body is exhausted, all over his body aching and heavy all over music. All morning, he puts his hand on his child's forehead and discovers that Tan has a fever. The couple quickly take him to the hospital. Tan has a fever rash, sleeps lie by Mrs. Lewis. Stay home. Market cook rice, buy things to cook porridge, minced meat with ginger, scoop into the rice bowl, then quickly go to the hospital to visit the grandchild who is shaking. Find a hospital room. Mrs. Lua meets a strange old lady. Her back is slightly hunched over her small and short body. Looks up. Mrs. Lua, on her wrinkled face, appears serious. Head, the hair has turned gray. A few strands of hair on the head are loose and not in place. Mrs. Lua feels pressure when someone else stands opposite at a close distance, staring at her. Old lady speaks in a hoarse voice in the fruit. The old lady shook her head slightly, but the blessings she created could not help her escape this disaster. Go sell the remaining 2 pigs. Her family's fate is not big enough to associate with the killing profession. This is a fragrant tea bag. Put it on your pillow or carry it in your shirt so you won't be disturbed anymore. Music. How did you know that my family has 2 pigs? Sell them. The old lady only left a deep sentence and then left. Mrs. Lua seemed to be rooted to the spot, holding the small paper bag that the old lady called a tea bag, her heart still in a daze. I didn't know who she was until I heard Ha's voice calling from behind. Then she suddenly woke up. Oh, why don't you sit at the gate and let me pick you up? Oh, what's wrong, Mom? Don't you have anything? Mom cooked minced meat porridge for Tom. Yes, I cooked it for you. He probably likes it better. Mrs. Lua looked down and saw her son carrying rice flour and food from the hospital. Although it's okay, Mom is afraid that there's no box. She'll cook too much, so she'll bring it for both of you. Ha-chan took the rice cooker and smiled brightly, saying that Mom is truly the most thoughtful person in the world. Don't flatter me, I'm alone. If you don't take care of your son, who else will you take care of? The mother and son went into the hospital room. Mrs. Lua went to the bed and looked at Ton, who was sleeping. She raised her hand to touch his forehead and looked at them. She asked what the doctor said. Yes, the doctor said it wasn't anything too serious, but because of the rash, he had to stay and be monitored. Oh. What should you 2 eat? Mom brought the minced meat for the baby. Yes, Mom, let's eat with us. Mom, you 2 eat. Ha and his wife went out of the hospital room. Find a place to sit and eat. Mrs. Lua was here. Seeing her child touching his hands and feet, his whole body was covered in red rash. The grandmother felt sorry for him. Suddenly, Ton grabbed her hand and spoke in a small, childish voice. Grandma, I'm so scared. Grandma is here. What are you afraid of? What did you dream about? What did you dream about? Tell me, Grandma, I dreamed about a pig. The pig in my dream was so strange that it could walk and came close to me. I'm so scared that I'm awake. Grandma, he was bleeding. When he told her, Mrs. Lua's words suddenly rang out in her head. Mrs. Haigi, these things were related. Oh, okay, let Grandma feed you. I'll feed you. Here's a bag of fragrant tea. Put it in your pillow and sleep tonight and see if you have any bad dreams. Then remember to tell the inner city to be obedient. Sitting with her back leaning back and eating spoon by spoon, the grandmother visited her grandchild for more than 2 hours. She told a couple of few things and then took a motorbike taxi home. When she arrived, she called a model furnace to contact them to sell the 2 remaining pigs in the barn. Why did you say you were going to give birth the other day? Yeah, I saw that raising them was too hard, so I sold them right away after finalizing the payment. Mrs. Lua felt a bit regretful as she watched the 2 pigs being put on the truck. The next day, Ton's illness improved, so the doctor let him go. Mrs. Lua was sure that her grandchild's illness was related to her selling the pigs to the furnace. Ha's husband and wife, after knowing that her mother sold 2 breeding pigs yesterday, Dian just asked what she can raise in the future. Why is she selling it? She doesn't know what to say to the 2 of them. Well, Hama should go find another job and see what happens, because her mother doesn't think raising pigs is good. What's wrong with not being able to raise pigs? It's very profitable, and her mother is an adult. Her mother said no, she didn't see, Seeing that her mother-in-law was a bit annoyed, DM had to shut her mouth. Hana Middle spoke to relieve the tense atmosphere. Yes, let me find another job. I'll do it, then turn around. Tell your wife, stop arguing with your mother. She must have seen that you worked too hard, so she stopped raising pigs. DM thought back to the time when she had to carry the sour and smelly dregs, so she finally gave up. That night, the demon behind the pigsty came into her bed. Looking for Mrs. Lua, she was doing the match and felt her whole body suddenly cold. As soon as she opened her eyes, she saw a pair of blue eyes standing out in the dark. The dim light of the night light made her see more clearly the ghost of a soul who no longer raised pigs but had to offer chickens. Otherwise, she wouldn't be at peace with me. Where Mrs. Lua gently replied, no, a little afraid of high, okay? Anyway, he is a deceased person, but unfortunately, he has no one to worship him, so he has to rely on this old woman. It is more pitiful than scary. Her words suddenly made her soul bewildered. Mrs. Lua asked, we have known each other for a long time, but we do not know our background. How should we address each other? I am the same age as you. My name is T-Bin. I died unexpectedly, and my grave was buried underground. Over time, the soil silted up, so no one knew that my grave was here. Do you remember your son? What was his name? At that time, when he died, his son was only 3 years old and lived with him. Not long after, he got married and she was a tyrant and did evil to her stepchild. I, as her biological mother, felt sorry every night when I came home and disturbed her sleep, causing her to lose her appetite and sleep. Who would have thought that she would go ask for a talisman to suppress him? She used kitchen chopsticks for many years to split a steak and drive it in front of the grave, but it got stuck and she couldn't get anything anymore. His name was Nia. I don't know how his father and son are doing now. Mrs. Lua shook her head. She didn't expect that the fate of the soul in front of her would have so many changes. The shrimp square. This job didn't bring anything. At 4 a.m., I went out to visit the grave, but didn't get much. Up to the middle of the river, I was thinking about the future. Suddenly, a man's voice on the shore spoke up. Is that a trick, sir? Just came back to the countryside. I turned her head to look up to the shore and recognized the voice of love. Oh, come back here to open ecotourism for guests from far away. Especially foreign guests, that must be a lot of investment. Yeah, looking for a source of fresh seafood to cook for guests, sir. If you have any stinky goods, then let me run oxygen. To deliver them to me, I will buy it for twice the price of rock shrimp. Okay, stinky goods are rare, fluctuating 10 for 1 kilogram can keep them. Raw when processed meat will be fresh and sweet, and the skin will be sweeter the more you chew. Fresh when grilled over fire makes the fruit scorch into the outer shell, giving off a characteristic aroma. Shrimp, after cooked, the shell also turns brick color. At the head of fresh fatty shrimp, take a bite, and a stream of brick shoots out in the mouth, touching the tongue. A little salty brick mixed with the sweetness of shrimp meat. Two things blend together to create the specialty flavor of this place, but after thinking happily, it is a bitter thing. Self-assesses her current shrimp pond quantity. That is not much difficult to maintain the business relationship when. It was getting brighter. DM woke up quickly, went to the kitchen to cook breakfast, then called the whole family out to eat. I told her mother and wife about the story at 4 a.m. that her son found a job, and her lover opened an ecotourism area and needed a source of seafood. Our family had the sauce. Yes, that's great. God really loves our family. V quickly cooperated and got into order. Invited the whole family to come to her tourist area to experience the scenery of the river area, but many guests from far away came and went. The water and food, the saltwater lake, and fishing all had to pay an entrance fee. They were in a short relationship, but they also estimated the income of the situation quite well. They found a place where the family was sitting and eating. Aloha was immediately attracted by DM, a woman with a child with full breasts visible under her V-neck shirt. They greeted each other a few times and asked, are you free to do anything? What are you asking? Oh, I'm thinking of adding grilled, salted, and chili fish to the menu for tourists, but haven't found anyone yet. Oh, let me. This is easy. Is that so? So while waiting for you to come in, do you have more work? Do you have more income? Natural fish here, food true. A lot, but most of them are clever and alert to every movement, so catching them as bait is a bit difficult. 4 a.m. Ha wears an old, tight-waisted outfit and carries a 10-liter empty can down to the riverbank to a cave where blowfish swim sideways. Took goes deep down to pull up the fish hidden in a thick belly. The belly is more awkward, but the more effort it takes to walk. But earning money is no profession without its own difficulties. The blowfish are timid by nature, so they will hide under the row. As soon as Ha steps forward, Took goes deep down and pulls out nearly 2. The sound of the fish being caught increased day by day. The restless fish kept jumping up and hitting the can and falling down. Basically, they had no way to escape. I went home with her arms and legs full of mud. She put the fish in a big basin, washed them to remove some of the mud, then bathed them again and put them back in the basin and brought them to her lover. The work continued for about 10 days. Then Ha realized that the fish had become more timid and defensive. They tended to dig deep holes, so when Took was very exhausted, they were smarter, so they dug holes with side passages, and the percentage of catching them was only 50-50. There weren't many fish, so he had to think of another way. Ha went to the market to buy a net to make a trap. The circumference of the trap was about 7 centimeters. The depth of the net could reach 30 centimeters. That way, he could trap 1 to 2 puffer fish, each one. Before setting the trap, Ha wore thick socks and long pants that reached his ankles because on the way to set the trap, there were many tree roots that scratched his feet and tore his skin. He waited along the slopes of mangrove roots for more than 2 hours. Ha just finished setting 100 traps. From then on, his work began to become easier. That day came again, the day of the chicken offering. No, between Mrs. Lua and the other spirit, they had become familiar. After the offering, the 2 women sat down to talk. Oh, now shrimp and fish are so fickle. Tomorrow, I will have some money to save for another portion. The little guy went fishing and sold it for a good price. Seeing Mrs. been sad, Mrs. Lua realized that she had said something wrong. When he was young, did the little guy have any outstanding features? Did he, Grandma? He had a gray birthmark in the middle of the spine of his little finger. He had a disability, because back then, his stepmother beat him hard. She told him to open his hand and then beat him as much as she wanted. The little guy scratched his finger. Speaking of that, Mrs. Bin Nu sobbed and choked. The tears of a ghost just descended and then disappeared. Oh my God, how cruel is that? I don't know. Tomorrow, I will go to the hospital to give out vegetarian food. Then I will write a lost children's search form to see how it is. Who knows, maybe I will find it. As long as I see it grow up healthy, I will be happy to quickly help Mrs. Bin find her child. Mrs. Lua planned to make the food to give out 2 days earlier than the previous day. The distribution was extended for 3 days so that people would pay more attention. That day, she went to the market to buy old vegetables and fresh meat. People at the market knew that she bought it and made it from. Charities so also sell cheap or give away for free. They also contribute something to this charity. In Mrs. Lua's hands are full of 2 shells full of old vegetables. Then she sees an old man pulling a modified child's motorbike. Passing by the old man is thin aluminum, 2 cheekbones, sunken black skin, wearing many wrinkles, cloudy eyes, smoky looking at life, filled with suffering. The shirt is too long but wide. It is old and worn out. The pants reach there. Heels. The plastic sandals also have peeling black. Paint walking small steps on the road. Mrs. Lua turns to look at him, put down the 2 shells, then come quickly. Here, sir. Let me buy some clothes. Dad, choose. My grandchild. How many kilos? Let me help you choose. Where are you smelling? Why are you so old? This is the first time I've met you, brother. I went to a foreign land when I was young. Now I'm old, I want to return to the place we ran away together. Speaking of this, the old man looked at the people passing by. Deep in his state, there was clearly a trace of regret and remorse. Mrs. Lua chose 4 new clothes for her grandson. Oh, I'll pay for it, you keep it, no need for change. Let me give you the change. You don't need to, there's a few thousand. My brother keeps it, buying drinks, paying for the old man, Mrs. Lua. Suddenly saw clearly a scene of DM climbing onto a motorbike laughing and hugging a man's waist. Looking at the slope, it was definitely not her son. The strange man pulled DM's hand out in front of the station. Mrs. Lua just reacted. DM's call now for Den Nutien struck the table. Hong looked at her mother-in-law. At this time, Mrs. Lua also realized that the man sitting in front was none other than the love of the man who did business with her son. Mrs. Lua was suddenly startled. The person who went and turned his head away. At this time, love had run away, but the guilt. Making DM unable to sit still let her go sooner or later. She will know. But knowing early is better than regretting not being able to have it. Brother, I have to go down and explain. Turn around. Mrs. Lua went home. Her head was in chaos with many thoughts. Fook Chok Wai try was blurred. DM's voice called from behind, but she did not turn back. She tried her best to run after her mother-in-law. When she reached the middle of the bridge, she caught her. Mom, listen to me explain. It's not like you think. You saw it with your own eyes. What you want to deny? Oh, I'll go home and talk it over with Ha. Mom, I beg you, but you gave up Mom. Don't tell Mr. Ha. So I admit that I had an affair with that guy. Why isn't DM your mother? Mom, listen to me explain. So both sides told each other. One side tried to beg the mother-in-law not to expose her. The other side was being controlled by anger, pulling the daughter-in-law back to explain. Mom, suddenly DM slipped and Mrs. Lua lost her balance. Her whole body rolled down the bridge. Her daughter hit the concrete bridge pillar in front of Mrs. Lua. Everything became blurry and dark. DM's eyes widened. She was so scared that she was rooted to the spot. Miss Trung shook her hands and said no. I didn't mean to. DM unintentionally ran back to see that her mother-in-law had passed out. She had no compassion and was scared, running away to leave her in the middle of the short road. The new clothes she bought for her. Grandson fell out of their bags. Vegetables and fruits were also scattered everywhere. While DM was looking for a way to escape the country, someone downstairs had already run to find him. Dome saw him casting a net under his house. He had just said loudly, "Hey, your mother has entered Vietnam." The news struck so hard that Ha could not hold on to the net. Even though it fell and sank, Ha quickly scrambled to the bottom. What you saying, pregnant go? I'll take you in with what silk is too heavy. How Mom crawled quickly to the shore, change into dry clothes, then go to the hospital. Looking at the mother's condition, Mrs. Luo was in the emergency room. The doctors recognized her. No one expected her to be an acquaintance. They tried to stay calm and tried their best to save her through the critical condition. All the tests, bone scan, CT scan. Resonance scan assessed the condition. Very seriously, Mrs. Lua not only was her neck scratched, but also had spinal cord damage causing temporary paralysis, or maybe Vin had the whole body from the neck down to even the ability to speak. The story is also being suspended. The situation is not optimistic. After Tan signed the confirmation of surgery for her mother, Ms. Lua was taken into the room. The doctors removed the bone, fixed the screws in the bone, and then applied a cast. When she left the room, she was still unconscious. Her condition was so severe that the doctor had to put a breathing tube on her 24/7. After she woke up, it would take a long time to recover before her voice could improve. There was no accurate assessment of whether she was temporarily or permanently paralyzed. When Ha came back, he saw his wife dragging her son. "What's the matter?" "Nothing." Ha was startled and broke out in a cold sweat. "Where have you been all morning?" Oh, I want to see my friend off to her husband's house. I don't know when I'll see her again. Mom fell from a cane, and the doctor said her recovery rate is very bad. You stay home and take care of the child. I'll go take care of Mom. Mom is paralyzed and can't talk anymore. I went into the house and opened the cabinet to get the gold he stole. He took it to the gold shop to sell to pay for Mom's surgery. After 20 hours in a hospital, Mrs. Lua has just woken up, looking at the pain in her eyes. The light bulb above her head, the severe headache, immediately appeared when she woke up. The doctor prescribed painkillers for her. She felt her whole body had no strength left. She couldn't move. Mom, you're awake. Mrs. Lua tried to move her lips, but couldn't even move her mouth. Now she couldn't do it. She could only helplessly look at her son with tears streaming down her face. It's okay, Mom, you'll get better after a month of treatment at that hospital. Has to let Mom go home thanks to Wayne. She was still healthy. She did a lot of charity. The doctors here seem to be good. Acquaintances should help her buy an oxygen ventilator to guide on to use at home. Buying a wheelchair breathing device is also quite expensive. I took the remaining few guavas to sell this. This is DM's cake benefit paper. There are many types. He sold them all. How will Tan have money for school later? Let's think about that later. So Mrs. Lua was brought home to be taken care of while lying quietly in the room. At this time, DM walked in, carefully locked the door, then turned to look at her mother-in-law with evil eyes. Mrs. Lua lay stiff. The only thing that could move now was her two eyes. As soon as DM entered, she was so scared that she broke out in a sweat. She could only make mumbled sounds. DM looked at her with fierce eyes and said, "Wagala. When I grew up, I didn't expect that God would help me. He couldn't let her die, but he made her mute and paralyzed forever. It was her fault. If only she had listened to me and not told me about her son, things wouldn't have turned out like this." Only today did Mrs. Lua know about her daughter-in-law's treacherous face, but what else could she do but look at her with angry eyes, wanting to oppose her? "Miha, stand up and hit me. Here's my face. You hit me." Dim happily let out provocative words until Tan knocked on the door from the outside. She let go and left him alone. "Tin, what's going on, son? You want to be heartless. Grandma is sleeping. Don't bother her." "Grandma-ress." DM walked out, closed the door tightly, grabbed her son's hand, and left in the room. Mrs. Lua lay alone, helpless, tears rolling down. Only then did Mrs. Bin appear and clicked her tongue. Why is there such a person in the world? Did he push her to this state? Mrs. Lua didn't know how to react for a moment. Mrs. Bin had an idea that meaning if it must be, then blink your eyes. Mrs. Lua Thwan, why blink your eyes? Mrs. Bin got angry. Sangtian, this girl can't be taught. But there are people in the market opening the door and walking in. How Mrs. Lua saw her son, tears filled her eyes. She wanted to say so many things, but couldn't. She tried to mumble repeatedly as if to explain something to Ha. It's just a pity that Ha couldn't understand. On the outside, DM leaned closer and heard everything. She knew very well what Mrs. Lua wanted to say. Her face became more indignant. The old woman was very angry, but still tried to tell her son. Inside, I held her mother's hand and confided, "Mom, our family is almost out of savings. I know this is the land that Dad and Mom had to save a lot, just bought it. I'm not selling it, Mom. Stay home. Eat well and rest to recover quickly. I've been working hard to plant more yard-long beans and squash and okra too, Mom. God will also be merciful to let it bear fruit. Find a cheap deal for people to take in customers shrimp and shrimp. I'm sure Mom will run away, Mom. Try to get well and play with." Tom listened to Mrs. Lua's mother look at me and cry more. Her mother will take Tom to her grandparents' house, then when he comes back, I'll bring him here to visit Mom. You just rest. I'll go put the matches in the ground. Pull the old lady to cover it so Mom knows her husband is about to leave. DM quickly hides and goes somewhere else. She goes out to help her husband put the matches in the newly sprouted seedlings. He doesn't know that the hardworking wife beside him has long given him a big horn. "I'm sorry, I've suffered so much, and you still know I've suffered." "How did you know I've suffered?" You took my gold and the money you like to contribute to your child to treat your mother's illness. Now the two of us have nothing left. I'm sorry. Mom is very important to me. I'm coming soon. I'll finish the paperwork and go work abroad for 6 months to earn money to pay back the things I owe you. DM heard and smiled happily. Yes, someone will go to work and bring money back to spend, and there's no fear of revealing the story of keeping stamps outside. 2 more months have passed. Now the paperwork related to how going to work has been completed. You're leaving. Mom sat in a wheelchair, still wearing a brace, crying because she felt sorry for her child who was far from home, thinking about her upcoming fate. DM couldn't close her mouth and smile. A slightly smug smile. Appeared 2 contrasting expressions of the 2 most important women in Ha's life when Ha turned her back and climbed onto the motorbike taxi to go out to the main road. The small light that was boiling and bright in Mrs. Lua's soul had also disappeared. DM smiled cruelly and turned to look at her mother-in-law. She used all her strength to push the wheelchair into the house. Mrs. Lua was now like a fish on a chopping board. When she entered the room, DM boldly helped her lie down. That action made Mrs. Bin's soul, standing in the room, see all the 2 trace. After many days and months of not seeing Mrs. Lua giving out charity rice, she asked Mrs. and the owner of the lottery agency, did she know? Mrs. Lua doesn't know, but did she die? When did she die? Why are you suddenly asking about her? Because it's been so long since you've seen the rice distribution platform? Oh, what's so shocking about that? Or is it because she's slippery? The 2 men shook their heads. The new owner of the agency continued. She fell down a bridge and scratched her neck for more than 3 months. The 2 men heard and their limbs went limp. Oh my God, do you know where Mrs. Lua's house is? I don't know, I haven't asked. That night, because she wanted to avenge Mrs. Lua, Miss has been transformed into her appearance and entered DM's dream. In DM's dream, she saw her mother's leg. The husband had recovered and walked to the bed, fiercely slapping her in the face. She pumped her doll. Hong woke up and returned to reality, but the pain was still there. DM Ha-gi went to her mother-in-law's room and pinched her leg hard. But Mrs. Lua was paralyzed, so what could she do? She still had no feeling. DM returned to her room. Although Mrs. Lua's leg no longer had any feeling, but because she had been lying down for a long time without moving, her blood circulation was poor. A pinch of her skin showed up on the wall. Bruises appeared on the wall. Long nights and heavy months. The dream that Mrs. Lua could walk again kept appearing, making DM unable to eat well. The first month after going to work, Husher contributed to sending home more than $30 million in the other country. Ha always believed that his wife would take good care of his mother, but he did not expect the reality of this place where she lived to be so miserable. She was not allowed to bathe or clean herself regularly, so the surroundings smelled very bad every day. She could only eat a bowl of thin porridge if she did not cooperate. Opened her mouth, DM let her fast her legs now showed signs of atrophy because she had been lying down for a long time without moving, because she hated having to clean her mother's diapers regularly, so it was difficult to avoid the waste being discharged. Goy DM took the money her husband sent home to buy a cheap wooden bed and put it behind the pigsty and let her lie there. The neighbors had long been annoyed by this daughter-in-law. Seeing Mrs. Lua lying there cold and alone, they pitied her and bought her a thin bed. Mrs. Lua lay there for more than half a day. DM brought porridge to the back of the house and saw it and immediately cried out to heaven, earth, gods, and Buddhas. Where did this idea of lying like that come from? Mrs. Lua's complexion was very bad and she didn't even bother to open her eyes. The neighbor who was weeding in the backyard couldn't stand it anymore, so she whispered a few words and then opened her mouth and cried out to heaven and Buddha. Living like a devil, Mom and her husband are virtuous. The husband works hard and sends money home for her to spend, but she's still like that. DM is here, Can't you hear her calling loudly, Ton? Come down, Mom, tell me. Yes, who took the nun out for her to lie on? I don't have any. Help Mom, let her go to the mansion. Get rid of the concept, but Grandma is lying down, and the neighbor's mother is also holding a knife. Fan is using the tip of the knife to dig up the grass while listening. The other day, she just made a stinky pile, waiting for me to clean it up so badly. Now she's lying down again. What is it? Get rid of it, but this concept isn't mine. Where did I get my mother? Oh, then whose is it? I added it. The neighbor just now stood up and put his hands on his hips and looked over. That's it. I saw your mother-in-law, sick and old, lying there so much, so I bought it for her. Hey, old lady, why are you so nosy? It's not your family's business. Don't talk so rudely. You're a devil, you're a ghost, you're a cursed daughter-in-law. If you were my daughter-in-law, I'd shove a broom down your throat. You're good, come over here and poke it. Who's afraid of me? Don't be so nosy. Listen to me, how a lie has nothing to do with me. Take care of yourself, it's raining today. Don't go out, Miles. If you can't go out, I'll take care of myself. Stop talking too much. Your name is T-By, but I thought your name was T-By. You're making up stories. I'll let someone clean it up. Hey, you naughty girl. What does my name have to do with it? Why are you bringing it up? You're being so sarcastic. I said that. What's wrong with you? You go and pick it up. You clean it up. Leave it there. I'll do it. I won't open my mouth to mention Buddha. I don't live without evil and immoral people like you. Leave it there. I'll do it. I'll leave it to my children. The word Siyukai has attracted people from far away to avoid trouble. Dian glared at the old woman and then went into the old woman's house. She had a chance to sit with the neighbors and tell them about her daughter-in-law. Everyone felt a pang of pity for Mrs. Lua. That night, it was raining outside the pigsty without glass, so the wind was very cold. Mrs. Lua felt her head burning and exhausted. At that moment, a dark shadow walked up to her and lifted her up. Before she passed out, she softly called out to that figure to put on a raincoat for her. He carried her on his back. His toes were tightly gripped under his belly. The rain was pouring down, and the lightning was thundering, as if he was really angry. Before that daughter-in-law, when that person's figure reached the gate of Mrs. Lua, the doctors and nurses quickly took her to the emergency room. The sky at night was divided by a huge, bright electric current thunder, and lightning exploded in the sky, causing a power outage in the surrounding area. The neighbors that were about to die because of the loud explosion. DM was lying in the house a bit scared because in the afternoon Mrs. Benoit had cursed, but life has its own faults that startleth. Dian did not do anything wrong with her conscience, then surely she would not be afraid of God's punishment. Outside the pigsty, a piece of land Trong was digging. The place where the judge hit was the place where the chopstick steak was buried in the past that freed Mrs. Bin's soul, which had been in prison for decades, waiting for her to go anywhere she wanted, no matter how far away it was. That night, Mrs. Bin followed the footprints that sank in the rain to the hospital. Mrs. Lua passed out again. Her internal organs were weak. Her leg muscles showed signs of atrophy because her family did not actively massage and support her circulation. Blood was all over her body. The two fishermen wished to send Mrs. Lua to a nurse and quickly went home to change their lottery agent clothes. Kind enough to let him stay for many years because of his fate of having no mother or father, he came back to life gentle and understanding. So the landlord pitied him and let him stay instead. After two fishing boats hurriedly passed by a baby goods cart covered by a blue silver piece, the old man trembled and pulled the cart inside, just met Mrs. M. The old man happily walked quickly over. "Oh, it's me, Heap Din. You remember me." Not a single memory of decades ago flashed through my head that year. Mr. Heap was nearly 30. His first wife died not long ago. He was already in love with his second wife. His wife, why didn't they get married, just put them together and move? Moving together after years of tormenting her husband's child, the couple went into debt and left the country. Before leaving, Mr. Heath left his son and his first wife to Mrs. M. At that time, Mrs. M was still a street vendor. She accidentally invited him when Mr. Heath took his child out to the street, intending to wait for his son to notice her and then quietly leave him, leaving behind 50,000 dong, and then disappeared for decades and returned to the human world. Currently, Mr. Heap is now an old man and doesn't look much better. Mrs. N took him into the house and sat down. He looked at her and immediately asked about the child from years ago, Mia. How is he now? She's grown up, gentle, hardworking, and good. Thank you for taking care of him. This favor, I owe it to you in the next life. I'll be reincarnated as a buffalo or a cow to repay you. Oh, he also helped me a lot, so I considered him a family member for a long time. Oh, is he sleeping? Mrs., where did he just run back to get pregnant? Go to the hospital and take care of Mrs. Lua, who's lying in the desert. The person who bought his land years ago. If he doesn't mention the past, then he feels ashamed of his youth. He betrayed his promise to his wife Chow Kang to take care of his children properly. He remarried, and his children were abused by his concubine. He was a weak father, so Peach. Those days of debauchery caused him to go into debt and leave the country. When he was penniless, his concubine hastily went off with another man behind his back. Oh is also the price he has to pay for his wrong choice. If his wife has no place to live, then come back here. Go, but as for Neum's story of him recognizing his father, I don't know what he means. Just seeing him grow up healthy and strong makes me happy. No, I hope he recognizes his father. Oh, but now people often call him Kai Kai. No one here knows that he is Nia. Oh, so why did you let me stay here for a while? Let me stay here to be close to my child. Oh, he's also an old acquaintance. Neum's father let me stay for free. Every month, I pay for electricity and water myself. Yes, I don't stay for free. It was strange for me to try to sell as much as I could earn, so the old man stayed every day, followed his son, and had close contact with the two fishermen who pulled the cart to sell things. That day, he passed by a fried duck shop. The smell of the duck meat was fragrant. Its skin was shiny because it was painted with oil. The red-orange duck color made people look. Seeing Mr. Heap hesitate, standing on the street looking out for a long time, he put his hand in his pocket, took out a stack of money, spread it out, counted it over and over again, and decided to go in and buy it. He was quite shy. Miss, how do you sell this, miss? A whole one costs 200, half one costs 100. Knowing that he didn't have enough money, Mr. Heap was about to leave. I want to buy more. Can you sell me a corner? The shop owner looked at him from head to toe and then nodded slightly. Yes, sir. Do you want the thigh or the thigh? Yes, please cut the thigh for me. The shop owner brought up the knife and chopped the meat chopping board, all carefully after adding the vegetables and meat. She said, yes, uncle and aunt. Here you are, Mr. Heap. Pay 50,000 and then bowed and left. 50. 000 for others is not much, but for him, he had to push the cart to sell for several days to get it. He returned to Mrs. Ann's play area at that time. Two fishermen were also busy making food. Hey boy, I'll give it to you. Why don't you eat it, uncle? I pushed the cart to sell it. People saw that I was pitiful, so they bought it for me. I'm old and have no teeth to eat this. You eat it, uncle. You probably haven't eaten anything yet. Come here and eat with me. I cooked sour soup. Mr. Heap was secretly happy as he entered his son's rented room, confused, not knowing what to do. The two fishermen brought out a tray of food for him. eat and get lost salty, because say the dyke listen again to think you Uncle Heap received the bowl of rice, swallowing each chopstick in his heart, surge of feeling of happiness, shy regret mixed together, Uncle live alone. And you're old, you will stop cooking rice and eat rice with your child for convenience. Listen, miss, and said, Uncle, don't have any children. Hudda, I have children, but let me lose my responsibility as a father with my own hands in. This world, there are many strange things I don't know why there are many people who give birth and then abandon their children. Also want to see my parents again, too. Asked him why she left her child with Ms. and Mr. Heap felt bitter in his heart and apologized. Why don't you have anything? Okay, you eat, then leave it there. I'll go home and clean up for you. I'll go to hospital, see, because of Lua. After a period of hospitalization under the care of doctors and nurses, and 2 pestles regularly massaging to see you, Mrs. Lua's health condition improved. DM now had money sent by Ha, knowing that her mother was in a hospital. She also paid money and sent more to the nurses. Let them take care of her mother-in-law's hygiene while she stayed home and had sex with her lover. The neighbors saw everything. Look how to get Ha to come back quickly to get rid of that heartless and ungrateful woman. Mrs. Lua can now try to pronounce short words. Although her mouth is still distorted when pronouncing, she is blushing with effort, but that is a good sign of recovery. The 2 men take care of her like their own son. They thoughtfully massage each gesture and spoonful of rice. Gradually, the distance between the 2 strangers narrows. Anyone who looks at them would think that the son has gone to take care of his sick mother. Mrs. Bin always follows Mrs. Lua closely. Feeling this son is really kind, he will come. One day, Mrs. Lua was treated to learn to walk. Her slow movements, moving each small distance, also cost her a lot of energy. Her 2 legs could not hide their joy when they saw her move. He sat down in the wheelchair and pushed her outside to breathe air. Mrs. Lua asked him a question that she had not asked for a long time. Why did you take such good care of me? I have had no father or mother since I was little. I only had Mizzen to care for me and help me eat. The 2 of you are no different from 2 mothers. If you have a favor, you must repay it because you have fed me so much since I was little. Rice later because he was well. I came back to take care of the child, and he got to eat rice from her again. Mrs. Lua did not expect that her actions of helping people over the years would really be repaid. If it were not for the 2 fishermen, the past days would probably have been a long nightmare for her when she had to stay with her daughter-in-law to visit Mr. Heap alone. Except for the time pushing the cart to sell, she also tried to take advantage of many times to return to the old land to find his wife's grave. But now there is no trace, and no one here knows where his grave is because in the past, the area around here was a desolate field. Now the roads and houses are so close together that even if he tried to remember, he still couldn't find the right location. That day, he decided to buy some fruit, incense, and go out to the empty land nearby to light it and sincerely pray. Mrs. Bin, if you're still here and still listening to what I say, please forgive me. I sincerely apologize to you so much. I broke my promise to you and went to live separately. But now I've found my son. He looks like a young man. He has a very sweet personality. I haven't dared to let him know that I'm his father. I'm ashamed of him, ashamed of you. I'm living so badly in the hospital. Mrs. Bin's soul really heard the prayer, immediately disappeared, then appeared next to Mr. Heap meeting the old friend. Although Mr. Heap had aged a lot, Mrs. Bin still recognized him after all. They were once husband and wife. That night Mrs. Bin followed him and knew he lived in a rented house, lonely in his old age after many years lying on a cold ground. Anger was still there, but she felt more compassion that night. She met Mr. Trong and Mo, asked each other a few things the sick woman just found out. That Hai Cha was Neum, the son she gave birth to with her own heart, sadness, joy, anger mixed. Zen made her only know how to cry in her dream. He continued to apologize to her until he woke up. His mouth still kept begging for forgiveness from his deceased wife. When he woke up, he covered his face and cried. His regret grew even more. The regret crawled into his heart until he died. When Mrs. Bin saw him like that, she couldn't bear to remember. Hating her ex-husband, she quickly went into the hospital to look at her son, who was sleeping soundly. "Oh, my son," she emotionally called out to her son, even though she knew he couldn't hear. But that voice really could be heard. But he, mistaking that Mrs. Lua was calling him, he quickly turned on his headphones and said, "Yes, what are you going to do?" But when he stood there for a long time, he still saw Mrs. Lua sleeping soundly. He vaguely thought that he had misheard, so he lay down and continued sleeping. The long days in the hospital had made the relationship between the two people become as tense as that of mother and son. Mrs. Bin also told Mrs. Lua here about the story of knowing the two fishermen's background. She was the only person who could hear Mrs. Bin's voice without having to enter her dream. Mrs. Lua really did not expect that the earth could be round, and so her health has recovered more thanks to the attentive care in a hospital. Now Mrs. Lua is learning to walk longer steps than practicing moving her neck the day she will be healthy again is also near. At this time, DM appears in the hospital next to Ha, and the family comes to pick her up, Tan, Mrs. Grandma, so much as soon as they see her. They jump into her arms and hug her, although the scent is different now, but the warm feeling of Grandma is still the same. Mrs. Lua has been in the hospital for a long time, exposed to the environment with many drugs, not often using essential oils, so Tan is not used to the smell of the two potions. Also packing personal luggage and taking her to the gate, Mrs. Lua tried to stand up and put her arms around her. The two children were free to visit their mother. Their feet wouldn't hurt anymore. Mother came to visit her two children. She regretted saying goodbye to her, but didn't say anything. I saw that her mother adopted someone else and wondered, when did she adopt someone else, Mrs. Lua? Beat glanced at DM. There are people who don't have the title of daughter, but take good care of her. There are people who, as children, have a mean heart and a twisted disposition. What are you saying, Mom? Mom, you're tired. Let's take Mom home and rest. The house took a taxi to take her together, so the two fishermen went alone reading Lonely Steps, but he was not sad for much time taking care of Mrs. Lua. He made an assistant named Trin, that girl. Saw he was honest and thoughtful, not afraid of the situation that fell in love. The couple from then on soon agreed to be together. Their feelings also gradually blossomed. Mrs. Bin also often followed her son, knowing that her son had feelings for her. Another girl, she was also happy when the two came back, Mr. He had cooked rice in advance, feeling a bit empty, so he stopped by his house to eat with Mrs. Bin to stay. Standing and watching the father and son sitting at the same table, the family of three can now be said to be like that, but this feeling is so bitter. When Mrs. Lua was brought home, DM was always worried and anxious, looking for every way to separate the mother and son. She soon knew that Mrs. Lua would tell her son about her affair and neglect to take care of him, so she had a plot to eliminate him by cleverly switching the medicine when she brought the medicine to her mother, who did not know that the medicine had been switched. Mrs. Lua saw her son bringing the medicine in, but did not have the slightest suspicion and drank it right away. Looking at her son's small family, her son hesitated to say it. They would blame Tom, who was still too young and had to endure the family separation. If he didn't say it, it would be like leaving a poisonous snake in the house. Mom, do you have something to tell me? She was about to say something when DM outside shouted, "Oh my God, what's wrong with you, Mr. Ton?" And Ton's crying could be heard from outside, making her impatient and leaving. To prevent the mother and son from talking, DM had no choice but to push her son down to attract her husband's attention. The couple comforted their child together. Outside, I didn't know that inside, her mother was having a seizure and her mouth was covered in dust. The person gradually lost consciousness. Mrs. Bin Lin sensed that something was wrong and immediately went to Mrs. Lua's side. Seeing her face turn purple, she was a ghost, so she knew that Mrs. Lua would not survive. Mrs. Bin, in her anger, had helped her push over the objects in the room. The noise also attracted the couple. When he stepped in, he saw his mother's pale face. He quickly helped his mother up. Mrs. Lua's mouth was foaming at the mouth. Her eyes were stiff, and she did not react at all to her son's calls. DM stood behind and saw everything. Knowing that the plan had succeeded, she smiled slightly. When she was brought back to the hospital, Mrs. Lua was in a coma again. Even though her intestines had been cleaned, her condition was not very optimistic. The doctor's conclusion was that she was drugged. Mrs. C was in a coma like that in a coma. Mrs. Lua stood in the middle of an indefinite space, a space so silent that you could hear your own heartbeat in your chest. Mrs. Lua looked around, a blinding light appeared, and there was a man walking towards her. "Silk is me, you've suffered enough, come with me." "Sir, why are you only coming to pick me up now?" "I'm sorry for not being able to protect you." My grandmother witnessed DM rolling around. I was also sad, but this house is unlucky. Now you go with me in that space. Mrs. Bin's voice suddenly rang out. "Let me borrow your body. If you can't bear to punish her, then let me. I still have to go home to take care of Tom and instruct her." "Grandma, the time has come for you to go. Just leave everything in the mortal world alone. I came to pick you up." Outside, the doctors and nurses tried to give Mrs. Lua a heart transplant, but it was no use. When the doctor came out to announce that she had passed away, she was so worried that she was numb. DM, also crying after that sentence, rushed inside and shouted loudly, calling her mother-in-law, but deep inside, she was laughing nonstop. That secret will no longer be exposed by anyone. The car carrying Mrs. Lua's body home, Ton knew that his grandmother had passed away. He could not accept that. He cried and begged the hill to hug his grandmother. The neighbors quickly gathered. Everyone took a hand in taking care of the funeral for her. When they heard the shocking news, they rushed over with tears and snot all over like a child, until he witnessed Mrs. Lua's remains lying on the sidewalk. He collapsed his legs, which had no strength left. Half a person let him call out. Once Mom is left like just yesterday, the two of them were still supporting each other in the hospital, but now they are two worlds apart. Family happiness for him is so short. Why is Mrs. Lua's farewell? Many people sad. Trin, representative of the doctors, came to give white flower baskets at the farewell. Everyone had a gloomy face. Ton, after a while of fussing, also tired and fell asleep when DM and Ha put on the shroud for their mother under the witness of some. Adults, Mrs. Lua opened her eyes and squeezed DM's hand tightly, making her scared out of her wits reflexively. "Back away." She fell flat on her back. Everyone helped DM up, but they were also scared and backed away. She wasn't dead, but the somewhat reproachful words came from Mrs. Lua's mouth. I then explained, "Yes, Mom, the doctor said that Mom couldn't be saved anymore. I also saw that Mom had stopped breathing. My grandchild wasn't even grown up yet. How could I die?" Everyone was talking about Mrs. Lua waking up. They were a bit scared, so they didn't dare to come near. They were whispering from afar, and Ton, after waking up, immediately ran to hug his grandmother. "It's okay, Grandma. I'm so tired. I'll sleep a lot." "Ton, be good. Don't cry anymore. My second child." Cha saw Mrs. Lua come back to life, and he was extremely happy, but he also knew his place and just stood there watching her gather around her relatives. Trin came to him and smiled instead of comforting him. Trin knew he wanted to get closer to her and touch that foster mother. Only DM was still scared and shaking, completely unable to hear the comforting words around her. It was over. She would definitely tell everyone what she had done, but not until everything gradually calmed down. Mrs. Lua obviously did not accuse DM of anything. Day after day, she forced DM to eat and drink for 3 full meals. DM did not dare to disobey her, but people who did evil a few times would not. Disgusting to do it again. DM bought pesticides and added a little bit to her grandmother's food every day. Mrs. Lewis still ate deliciously, and the more she ate, the more she ate. There was absolutely no food poisoning. That night, DM was sleeping and dreamed that her mother-in-law was carrying her to eat at night. She did not dare to disobey her, so she quickly got out of bed and went to the kitchen to prepare dinner for her. She did not dare to say a word of complaint, but she quietly put pesticides in again. Mrs. Lua's voice was very close behind her. It was so deep and cold that her daughter-in-law was cooking food for the mother. Hada DM jumped, causing the paper bag containing the pesticide powder to fall. Mrs. Lua pressed her face close to DM's face. Her two black pupils suddenly rolled up, leaving her eyes white, making DM so scared that she peed in her pants. Mrs. Lua chuckled, her legs quickly running back to the room. The whole kitchen heard Zhang's amused laughter. DM screamed loudly. Her legs went limp as she stepped out early. Seeing his wife sitting on the bottom of the water, he walked over to her and helped her stand up. Mom, 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 mom. DM was so scared that she couldn't say a complete sentence. Don't talk nonsense, Mom. Sleeping with a god, but Mom is a ghost. You're warned. Stay away from Mom. Don't ever mention these words in front of me again. Then he left, but his wife's words more or less stirred his thoughts. He saw his mother very strangely after being resurrected, carrying suspicion. I went to Mom's room and secretly looked at the two of them who were in deep sleep. Then he felt at ease and left. Time passed like that. Sometimes every 3 days or 2, he would stop by the house to bring Mrs. Lua some small fish and shrimp. Just leave them at home to eat, Mom. Here, you and your brother will take care of it. There won't be any shortages. Where? I know you and your brother take good care of Mom, but this is my sincerity, Mom. Please accept it for me. Mrs. Lewis smiled gently, looking deep into the eyes of the two fishermen. He himself did not know that the soul residing in Mrs. Lua's body was actually his biological mother. Mrs. Bin and Mrs. Lua's body, besides how cutting off her daughter-in-law, still loved and took care of her as if she were her own grandchild. In the end, she was a soul borrowing a body with a conscience. Mrs. Lua often came to the two fishermen's inn in the afternoon, the hour when the chickens had already started to go to sleep. Even invited Mr. Heap to eat together today. Mrs. Lua cooked sour snakehead fish soup. Seeing her son eat very deliciously, she suddenly patted her brother's head, suddenly feeling embarrassed. Looking at Mr. Heap sat down to eat. The familiar taste made him a bit suspicious. Looking at Mrs. Lua, a piece of memory from when Haichao was still young appeared in his mind. When the couple was young, Niam was still in his mother's womb. Mr. Heap went to set a net and caught a snakehead fish, so he gave it to his wife to cook sour soup. Yes, we're out of rice. Let me go to Ms. Tu's house to borrow some. Borrow it, I'll sell the fish in the net and exchange the money to buy rice to pay back. Yes, in the past, the couple was poor but loved each other and shared the joys and sorrows with each other. Buoy little by little until Niam was 2 years old, but unfortunately, Mrs. Bin had a serious stroke and passed away. Mr. Heap got up and got married not long after, which is what made him regret until now. He escaped from the stream of memories. Mrs. Lua seemed to understand the question of the grandparents. She said, I'm here, Ben Kwan. Who else is there? He was moved to tears. Only the two nets didn't understand anything. What happened, Mom? Why are you crying? Never thought I could eat such a delicious meal. The two of them laughed and scooped more soup for him. Uncle, eat a lot. My childhood, I always ate rice cooked by my mother, but when I grew up in the late afternoon, I found the old taste. Mr. Heap was somewhat satisfied. When Mrs. Lua left, the two of them held her hand, ma beg. Someday on the chair, can you come over and play with me for a while, Mom? You can, Mom. You will definitely come over, but when she returned, the city had been asleep for a long time. She caressed the boy's face. A lovely child, but why so pitiful? Mrs. Bin in the clothes. Mrs. Lua turned back. The kitchen searched for rice and soup to eat and eat, so that the more she ate, the more she revealed her Dongma nature. After finishing eating, she quickly jumped out of the house, walking briskly like a squirrel, not at all like the pace of an old person in the dark. A pair of innocent eyes stood watching Mrs. Lua from the time she ate until she left. He just silently covered his mouth with tears in the dark. That little hand was silently tearing each roll of tissue paper to wipe away the black rotten stains that Grandma left in the house. Not far away, the sound of a couple having sex was heard again, resounded after the passionate moments DM lay snugly in the tea of the man who was not rubbing himself with human love but not long ago bought fish from the shop in the quiet space of the night of the 16th. The wind blew coldly when DM moved to curl herself up close to the man hung, then a strange feeling made her open her eyes. What came into her eyes was a ghostly figure with pale skin, pale lips, and white eyes looking inward. Mrs. Lewis stood outside the window, darkness covered under the dim moonlight. The ghostly figure seemed to be stuck in the darkness. Its eyes were not black, but DM knew clearly that it was staring at this place as if looking through the heart of fear. The ghost did not make a sound, but there was a cold feeling that was terrifying, as if the surrounding air was sucked away, leaving an absolute silence. Occasionally, the wind blew through the window, gently moving the curtain, adding to the horror as if she was moving, trying to get in, making DM lie in a room and feel her heart beat fast. More afraid that something bad would happen even though there was no sound, but the surrounding air seemed to thicken, carrying a deep coldness that made her skin rise with a feeling of horror. Her presence was like a threat to DM, making her spirit not have a minute to rest. The figure was motionless, but only her eyes moved as if looking at her wrong actions. DM did not dare to blink for fear that in a blink of an eye less than a few seconds that ghostly figure would appear. Here the tension made her. I finally fainted. Let's run. Wake up early. Otherwise, my husband will know by now. Don't worry, I'll give him some strong sleeping pills. I'm afraid the sun is high in the sky and he hasn't woken up yet, so we have to be careful of those gossipy women. They'll be done for if they see one. DM sat up, but remembered what happened last night and didn't dare go home by herself. The driver took her a short distance to the market. People were starting to get crowded for the early morning market. They were talking about how a beggar man who claimed to be an exorcist had come here early in the morning. Knowing that there were ghosts lurking around early, it was true that the drowning man found a life buoy and immediately went to ask about that man, but no one knew his whereabouts. I heard that he claimed to be a god or a demon. If you meet him, you have to surrender, but no one knows where he went. Where is he? DM just went to the market to buy things to cook breakfast, then asked about the whereabouts of that man. Today, she cooked stewed pork and still served it separately to her mother-in-law, but she didn't dare put pesticides in it anymore. Will you serve it to Mom? No need. Mom went to the two-fathers room to eat. Oh, is that so? Oh, my brother and I went home to my mother for a while. Grandma, she remembered. I immediately laughed loudly and said, "Come in here." Huck carried DM into the room and locked the door. While fondling his wife's body, he noticed something strange, so he stopped and bent down to look inside. Then his face darkened. "What's wrong? Don't you remember me?" I lost interest and went outside and closed the door. Although he didn't say anything, his face was full of anger. DM didn't know that her secret had been discovered by her husband. Ha's emotions were now a new mix of anger. Loss is creeping, and Mrs. Lua went to the house of the two fishermen to meet her son's girlfriend. The room was small, but filled with laughter. Trin seriously asked Mr. Heath, "Uncle, you know that Niam is your son. Why don't you say it?" Mr. Heath was stunned. Looking at Trin, the two bottles were curiously mixed together. "Oh, have you found your relatives yet?" The atmosphere in the room was a bit tense. Mr. Heap silently looked at her without saying anything. "He found his son. Your name is Nia. Then I'm happy for you. You're too old to meet your biological son again." Trin looked at him. Brother then looked at him. "From the beginning you already knew, right?" "Oh, I just need to see him alive and well, that's enough. I don't dare to be a father. I shouldn't disturb his peaceful life. Uncle, what was the past like? You're still his father." Who knows, maybe Nemo is also waiting for you to come back. Why, brother? Why, not the name Haikai. That name is Dian. I just changed my name to call you. Your real name is Mia. You are his son. The truth came too quickly. Haikai temporarily doesn't know how to react. Did you find your biological father? Why? Father recognized him but had to hide it because he didn't want to accept the son he had abandoned. With the presence of Mrs. and the details hidden for decades were exposed. The last lesson was that the two girls chose to accept him. Father hugged Mr. Heath and sobbed. Mr. Heath was both ashamed and happy. Suddenly, the two girls asked about the whereabouts of Mrs. Bin's mother in Mrs. Lua's body. She shook her head. She's dead, but Mom still believes that she's here. Seeing her children prosper and seeing her children happy, where is your mother? Mrs. Bin also wants to have a proper grave. Very royal, but looking at the poor situation of the father and son, she said she rested in peace and did not need to find her any more music. It was almost evening in the room. Suddenly, a fishy smell wafted from somewhere. It was like the smell of a long-dead rat. Mrs. Lua discovered it, so she said goodbye to everyone and went home. Mrs. Lua's body had been dead for a long time because Mrs. Bin had violated the rules of morality and borrowed a body to return to Duong to live with her family. That body had become a corpse on the inside, but due to the negative energy from the ghost residing in it, it kept the skin on the outside of the body. The other body was no different from a piece of wood that had been eaten away by termites inside. DM added pesticides to the rice and soup, adding to the demonic excrement of her internal organs. In the evening, her body automatically used out a black, foul-smelling liquid, but in the morning, when the sun rose high, that phenomenon disappeared. When she returned to lie down in her room, Mrs. Lua appeared and said, "You stay there for now. After you let go of my body, a lawyer will come and read the will, in which there is a piece of land that I have given to my second son. I consider it a reward for it after all the months it has spent taking good care of me, and also as a thing for it to remember this foster mother. I borrowed her body for so long, she must be very sad about me, making her unable to rest in peace. I'm not brave enough to take revenge on that daughter-in-law. She helped me, right? But I'm afraid she doesn't have much time left." DM went to find an exorcist, and on the full moon night of that month, the crazy sorcerer finally knew that Mrs. Lua was the possessed ghost after leaving the house. The fisherman returned to Baalua and encountered him, causing him to chase after her with the crazy wizard. After all, humans cannot run as fast as ghosts. The only thing that Baalua left behind was the black duck substance dripping down. The wizard prepared all the magic, holding a Bhagwan mirror in his hand, and chased after him. His pursuit attracted more and more neighbors. People also knew that Baalua had been resurrected for a long time because of a demon borrowing her body. Everyone was curious and chased after her. No matter where Baalua ran, through the thorny bamboo bushes, they could not. Using a knife to cut it flat is essential not to leave her a hiding place. The more the duck's liquid flows out, the more she gradually gains strength as she runs to the sandbank. Tan is there. Mrs. Lewis sees her grandson with the current person, immediately backs away, avoiding Tan, walks towards her, pulls her to sit down, and puts a small tea bag in her pocket. The tea bag that he encountered scary things in the past. She's stuffed into his pillow. Grandma is afraid that person will come in. Take Grandma away, right? You are also afraid that the pig ghost will take you away from him. He kept it by his side. He's no longer scared by the pig ghost. Now Grandma is afraid of you. For Grandma, I'm not afraid of Grandma. Actually, Tan is also afraid, but he doesn't say it. Facing Tan now is an old lady with pale skin. The stinky person constantly brushes out black duck substance. Her eyes gradually turn milky white. I know Grandma is not Grandma for a long time. I know from the moment Grandma put me down on the bed, Grandma holds a live fish to eat. I'm very afraid of ghosts, but I'm more afraid of not seeing Grandma. More afraid of my parents finding out and locking Grandma. In a box those black marks Grandma left, I wiped all the fish Grandma ate breakfast when Dad asked me, then I blamed it on the cat. I didn't want to. Grandma, you're so soft. Oh, it's not warm anymore. It's been a long time since I accidentally had a stroke. Grandma still blames me, but as long as Grandma is still lying there, it's okay if you don't hug Grandma. I'm sorry. I actually don't want to hide it from you. Maybe I should go now to return Grandma's body to Grandma before I go. Can I hug you to sleep again? Grandma Lua nodded slightly. The two of us sat there, sitting on each other's laps. She looked up at the stars that were gradually appearing. That fragrant tea bag probably really had its uses. The two of us had our own private space, not disturbed by anyone. She looked into the distance. The vast and peaceful sky. The silhouettes of the two little grandmothers and grandchildren passed through the night. Grandma whispered to Ton to hug her son for the last time. Grandma then hugged Ton, using the last bit of warmth that belonged to her. Grandma Lua warmed her grandson in the middle of the sandbank. Ton gradually fell asleep, forgetting her fear. The peaceful space was filled with love. In that moment, grandmother and grandchild seemed to sing into the vast universe where time seemed to stop and only the twinkling stars remained, along with the warm closeness of family love. After waking up, it was already dark. Late still, no one discovered the two grandmothers and grandchildren. Mrs. Lua sat with her head bowed, no longer reacting, her small hands holding her face. Her eyes were sparkling, tears rolling down. Ton, though young, knew this was the final separation. Grandma returned, bowing to the horizon, leaving this place behind. Tears filled with questions for Dylan. In the past, during the long nights, Grandma sat and waved her hands because she loved Ton, no matter how dry the sky was. Through her hands, her movements turned to wind and dew. Grandma was now separated from the living and the dead. Her back was bent, leaving behind an empty bed in a house of immense whiteness. The color of the melt covers the heart of farewell. My sin is still trying to hold on. What is keeping Grandma here? Don't go to the sky in waves. The dream is far away. The news that Grandma is still there. I haven't left yet. Grandma is like a magical place. The wind from Grandma's ear whispers a lullaby. Grandma is now peaceful for eternity. I just woke up from the dream. The words are no longer there. Let Grandma's body sit there calmly. Go home, Dad. Let's take Grandma home, Grandma. Is sleeping. I see where Grandma is. Grandma is sitting with me on the sandbank. Grandma is really gone. There's nothing left now. Looking at my eldest son, receiving from him, the city has changed a bit. I see my son has grown up after the days he went to work abroad, went to the alluvial land. His mother came into the house. His heart was broken from now, and he was an orphan koi. The way home no longer had a birth mother waiting this time. Mrs. Lua's funeral really took place. Went smoothly after a month since Mrs. Lua passed away. Lawyer Tin got, my name is Lati Lua. I affirm that my current spirit is still clear and lucid. I voluntarily made this will as follows. My current husband and I who have passed away have one child together, Tran Vander, in my marriage. My husband and I created 2 plots of land with plot numbers 127 and 128. Plot 127. I am living with my son, and the person using the land is Tran Vanha. Before, when my husband was alive, my husband and I made a will together to leave all assets to our son, Tran Vanha. However, after my husband passed away, I lived with my son for a while and had an accident and had to be hospitalized for treatment. Accident and injury caused by leukemia. My daughter-in-law caused Mr. and Mrs. Tranvan did not take care of me when I was sick. I was lucky to receive, under the care of my adopted son named Lehunium, seeing my daughter-in-law's attitude now, I changed my previous. I no longer agree with all the assets being left to my biological son, but the assets will be divided according to plot 127 for the biological son, the remaining plot 128 for my adopted son Lehunium to inherit, looking at the will with full stake. Notarization, agreed, only DM was not willing. There's any mistake, the lawyer adopted son my mother accepted raised outside, but also inherited the assets happily through an angry look at his wife causing. She was startled and immediately shut up. He turned to the lawyer and said, "Thank you, lawyer." My mother divided it according to the D version. I completely agree. After the lawyer left, I locked the door. DM shouted at him, "Are you crazy? Why did you accept me? What a strange will." Squeeze a sound. I gave it to DM. It was like heaven and eyes. You only have the property. Why did my mother clearly say in the will that you were the one who caused my mother's accident and neglected to take care of her? I worked hard to give my sister money to spend. I'm in a foreign country. People will watch. Like a mangy dog, when he comes home from work, he doesn't even dare to eat anything delicious to nourish himself. He probably sends it to you bit by bit. But why do you treat my mother like that? Listen to me explain. I didn't mean to make my mother fall. And the fact that you slept with another guy was intentional, right? You don't have me. I don't have the disease. You didn't have me before. Why did those bumps appear on your body when I went to work? You're dirty, but if you love your mother, I love you, then I'll accept it as if I don't know, so that this house can be peaceful. But I didn't expect her heart to be as poisonous as a snake. It's my fault that I married the wrong person. My mother had to endure such a long time. Now she's rolled up her sleeves and left this house, away from me and my father since DM was kicked out by her. The divorce petition was settled by the court early. Now she can stay full-time with her lover without having to sneak around. Ironically, her lover's business went downhill. He went bankrupt, causing both of them to flee the country. The two of them opened a cat and chicken farm, and one day they would live. That moldy silver orchid was sold for steel. The crowded streets half a year passed in the morning, happily attending the wedding of the two Chavier. Trin used the money from selling lottery tickets that he had saved for a long time to build a house on the land that Mrs. Lua had given him. At the same time, the two fishermen also asked Mr. Ha to go behind the house to dig up Ben's mother's remains to build a grave for her so that she could have a proper resting place and together with Father Lowe to give her a grave. Mr. Heap also stopped pushing the cart to sell things and switched to growing vegetables, partly to sell and partly to donate to charity for those with more miserable fates than himself. After Mrs. Lua passed away, I still remembered. She likes to do charity work, so she opened a free rice shop near the hospital to support those in difficult situations. The good news spread far and wide. Her shrimp farming business also has regular buyers. It's no longer as difficult as before. Dear listeners, you've just finished listening to the short story Grandma is a Ghost, a work by Darkness Prevails. Goodbye. Good night, dear listeners.